Hey gang, it's your friendly neighborhood RoboRiv, and we're doing something different on this episode of AONR DRAWS. We're hopping out of Procreate and we're working in traditional media. And I've got a little story why I'm doing the specific drawing, the specific headshot that I'm going to be sketching out for you guys today. But we'll get into that in a minute. I'm going to be working with my Bristol sketch paper. It's a Blick Studio Pad is from one of our art stores here. So I'm going to be working on this, drawing on this, and I've got my pencil, got loaded up with HB lead. I've got some 2H lead too, but I like to sketch it out, rough it out with HB lead first. It's nice and soft. And I've got my pins here. I've got these Hello Hobby pins, which are basically microns. I've got my microns over here too, and so we'll be working with those in various different sizes. And I've got my eraser. I've got my trusty eraser stick to get in those little areas. And I've got my Faber-Castell big brush pen. I'm gonna probably use this to fill in big, large areas of black. So got all my materials here. We're gonna get started, but the reason why I have chosen, and well, the character I've chosen for this drawing is one of my own characters that was in a previous video. His name is Dig. He's like a big Frankenstein hulking monster with a metal face and all kinds of like barrels and containers and pipes and cables all over him. The reason why I chose this headshot is to hopefully recoup some money that I've spent on some ink. You see, the problem with doing digital media is when you do it, it's easy to forget that you've done a sketch. It doesn't take up physical space, so it's kind of out of sight, out of mind, until you get it printed out. And I print out a lot of my digital work, and I was negligent and didn't clean my print head, so I had a big printer clog. And the result of that was when I tried to print out Dig, I got this misprint at the top and at the bottom. I did eventually get it to print out correctly, but you know, it's a giant big waste of ink, this guy. But that's who we're going to be drawing today. And hopefully I can do a good enough job on this drawing to sell it and recoup some of the cost of ink on this. So we'll see how it goes. All right, wish me luck. All right, first off, you're gonna watch my hands move way faster than they actually move in real life. I had to speed this video up ×8 because otherwise it would have taken this 20-minute video to a almost 3-hour long video, and I don't want to put you guys through that, and I don't want to talk that long, frankly. So you get the sped up version here, but this is how I sketch. I'm just really doing everything real light at first. I try not to press down too hard, and I'm using a softer lead, so that makes things a lot easier. But this was the first time drawing Dig in a straightforward head-on shot, and it was a lot of fun to do. It was a little bit difficult figuring the side parts out, because when I had drew him previously in that 3/4 view, I hadn't really considered that so much. But this was a fun little exercise to see how I can kind of make that work head on, and I think I did an okay job with it. I have to let you guys tell me what you think about it when you see the finished version, but you can already see the eraser fragments, the little eraser particles start to build up throughout me penciling. I erase a lot when I draw. I probably do more erasing than actually drawing, and I think I've seen other artists work like that. Most notably, recently that I've seen was Frank Cho. It's the way he put it is it's more about like kind of putting lines there and taking out what doesn't work and leaving what does. So You know, I kind of do that, especially when it comes down to some of the more organic shapes. Not so much with these mechanical shapes, although I have, you know, you'll see me draw something out and then erase it and then redraw it again to kind of get it more symmetrical. I'm sorry, that's my cat. He's complaining. All right, Taluti. Yeah, he wants to get outside real bad, so we'll have to do that soon. But he hears all the birds outside. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. Doing the mechanical parts, I kind of wish that I had my ruler and my French curve and some of those tools with me. Perhaps next time I draw a dig traditionally, I'll probably use those to kind of get the symmetricality more, you know, get those mechanical parts more symmetrical. But that's also why I'll draw like little divots and dents in the armor and make it look like maybe it's not supposed to be perfect. Maybe he's gone through it and parts have gotten damaged or rusted over time. So yeah, that's the cool thing about having your own characters. You can kind of have your own head canon and to cover up some of the mistakes you might have made, you know, that just naturally happen, because it's really difficult to draw something straight up symmetrical. There's very few things, you know, that are from nature that are perfectly symmetrical. You know, you usually only see that with technology and mechanical things. And then again, like I said, even still, you can have some leeway. But also too, in this video, there's going to be a couple of time jumps in between. I tried to capture as much of this drawing from blank page to finish as possible. Unfortunately, my phone is struggling for space right now because I just got so much artwork on here and photos and everything, videos of my cat. Probably, you know, it takes up a good amount of space on my phone. So my apologies with some of the time skipping, some of the time jumping. But again, you know, I think you can kind of get the gist of everything of what I'm doing. So hopefully you can. All right, and yes, that is a TV tray that I'm drawing on. I once upon a time had a legit art table, and several years back I moved from Florida back to my home state here in Nebraska, and my table didn't quite make it. So it got, from what I remember, the little side adjustments broke off pretty bad. So, you know, it's not very not a very stable table. So, and I never got a new one. I didn't really think I would be doing, really going back to traditional, but I'm really highly considering it now, with some of my line work, just going back to just penciling it out by hand, which is a stupid statement to say. Like, I should just say penciling it out, traditionally. You know, a lot of people ask me when they see my digital work, they're like, "Oh, did you do that by hand?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, I used a tablet in a stylus. You know, it's still by hand. It's just using a different tool." But I do see the value of of having it and having that instant gratification of drawing something out and having it right in front of you, rather than having to you know, spend the ink money and the time to print it out. So I'll be doing a lot more traditional work this year. Okay, where was I? I'm sorry guys, I had to stop recording for a minute and change locations. My cat, he's such a sweetheart, but right now he's being a Velcro cat. He's a black Bombay named Toulouse, and he is so sweet, but he, like, man, when he wants attention, he lets it be known. So apologies for the additional background noise. But anyhow, I know in this headshot that I was doing, I wanted him to have that steam like coming out of those ports, like he's just angry about something, just blowing some steam off, which I'm sure when I drew this I was probably blowing some steam off myself. That is a big stress relief, getting to draw, whether it's traditionally or digitally. It's all the same. It's a big stress relief. But getting back to what I was saying before, though, I definitely want to do more of these types of videos, do more, for the lack of a better term, hand-drawn videos. And hopefully soon I won't be drawing on a TV tray, because I tell you what, it's super uncomfortable. I'm using my computer chair and a TV tray, and I'm not a short guy, but I'm not a super tall guy. I'm not a super short guy, but adjusting my chair and hunching down over this TV tray is not good for my spine. So I will be working on getting a actual new, maybe one of those hydraulic art tables. I'd like to be able to adjust it as straight up forward as possible, but I'll get to that when I get to that. And but anyhow, doing a little bit more cross hatching on the shoulder and putting in some of the fine details. The pencils are almost complete at this point. I'm just kind of going back in, spotting more areas of shadow, just adding little bits of details in the kind of like the cracks of his skin. I figure his skin is kind of mutated and has all kinds of boils and marks all over it, and just the indentations from the ports that are in his neck and in his back. He kind of almost has like a bit of a Bane thing going on as well, with the whole mask and the tubes and everything. So I guess Dig is sort of a big combination of a Frankenstein monster, if you will, of 90s edgy comic art. I think that's kind of I wouldn't be mad at that description of his look. Kind of brings up some of the like the Rob Liefeld stuff and the Todd McFarlane stuff that I grew up reading and seeing around the house, and from Image Comics, stuff like Young Blood, Wet Works. For what it is, it was some pretty cool artwork. And now finally to the inking. The most nerve-wracking part of this whole drawing is laying down the inks, because this is the point of no return. And I gotta say, like, when you do a lot of digital art, it gets so easy to to take that for granted, to rely on being able to control Z your way out of things. But you can't control Z your way out of this. You gotta kind of go with the flow. So it's a challenge, but it's kind of exciting too because of that, because you just whatever you went with is what you got. To an extent, there's you can cover certain areas up, or I didn't break the whiteout marker that I thought I was going to break out with this drawing. I didn't break that out, but you can always white out certain areas if it's not too messy. So yeah, I also, when I'm doing like straight lines, one thing that I'll do is a little bit of a breathing technique, because my hands will shake. I don't have the most steady hand in the world, and it's actually gotten less steady throughout time. So I'll hold my breath sometimes when I'm doing a kind of a rough line or a line that I'm not sure I can pull off. I'll just kind of hold my breath while I do it. So I'm just kind of really just focused on that line. I don't know if it'll work for you, but it works for me. So maybe something to try out. Also by the side there, the little sheet that I have, That's to kind of keep track of how much I should price this drawing at. I try to be fair with my pricing when I'm selling original art, and really try to only charge for the time that went into creating it. And it can be a sliding scale. It's time and materials. You know, I'm using my pens and my pencils and all that stuff, and over time, you know, usage, I would like to be at a point where I can sell my artwork, and off of one piece I can, you know, make back some of the time that I spent on it, and, you know, maybe perhaps some of the material usage that went into it, because not only do I got to eat, but I got to keep buying pens and paper and all that good stuff. So I'm trying to be a little bit more aware of my time when I draw, which is not always easy, because it's very easy to just get lost in a drawing, and before you know it, several hours have passed by. One good trick for that is just set your phone alarm, you know, or your iPad, your tablet, or whatever. Just set like a little timer for yourself. So when you draw something, you kind of keep track of your time. That's very useful too when taking on a client that wants a job done. You know, I always ask for people to give me the best description they can of their job before, you know, I commit to working on it, because then I can get somewhat of a guesstimate of how long that it's going to take me. And, you know, I may be off a couple hours here or there, but the more I do it, the more that I spend time with clients, the more I do work outside of my own work, I get better at kind of guesstimating how long something's going to take. And yeah, that way it's a more of a fair assumption of, you know, hey, buy this for this price, I've spent this amount of time on it, and or don't, like, it's take it or leave it. But I often, in this stage of inking, I often add a lot of things that might not have been in the original sketched out pencils, because sometimes it's not until you start adding volume to and more weight to your lines, you may start to see things that, you know, the drawing might feel a little unbalanced on the left or a little bit more unbalanced on the right. So I try to kind of balance those things out. And sometimes you can use shadows and lighting to help balance things out as well. I ended up doing that on this top head kind of cranium cover that he has, because I didn't really draw it that great. It's a little lopsided. So I think I realized that at a certain point and ended up putting like a heavier shadow on the like towards the edge of the cover, of the cranium cover, which I just think that's pretty cool too. I wanted him to have like an exposed brain, and I wanted to do something that kind of reminded me of Crane from Ninja Turtles. I don't know if I said that name right. Is it Crane or Krang or Krang? I think it was Krang from the Ninja Turtles. You know, that big pink weird brain thing that's in the big huge android body. I always thought that looked really wild. Man, speaking about it now, it kind of makes me want to draw Krang. Like that would be a cool drawing, wouldn't it? I don't know, maybe. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. If I get enough of you guys saying draw Krang, I'll do him, and I might even do him traditionally like this, or maybe I'll chicken out and just do it digitally. We'll see what I have time for. But anyhow, this part definitely took longer. Doing the inks on this definitely took longer than doing the pencils. Like I said, you're kind of finalizing everything, and I knew that this was as far as I was going to take this drawing. I wasn't going to use any marker or paint on this. I just wanted to present some clean line work to you guys, and once it's finished, I mean, I could always go back and and take these inks and scan it in and color it digitally if I wanted to, or I could just keep it this way. Again, hopefully at one of these shows, someone's gonna see it and love it and want to take it home with them and get it in a nice frame and have a nice piece of original artwork of an original character hanging up in their man cave or their studio or their bedroom or wherever they like to put this. Like that's always a huge honor to me, is, you know, when I hear friends, or I've had friends before send me pictures of like some of my work hanging up in their den or their bedroom or wherever they have it in their homes, and that always makes me feel really good. Like that's why I do it for, you know, you guys, so get some kind of appreciation and pleasure and entertainment out of it. You know, I was having a discussion earlier with a friend of mine about the fact that a lot of artists and creatives and people in that field have a hard time saying no and turning people down, because really at the root of our being, of who we are entertainers. We want to make people happy. We're people pleasers. So, which gets really difficult sometimes when it comes to staying on deadline with work and the cross section between, you know, your professional work and the work you do as an artist and your availability as just a human being. It could get difficult because unless you put time and effort towards the craft, you don't understand truly how much time and effort it takes. Just coming from my standpoint, I think that, you know, the more time that you spend on something, the more quality you're going to get, and that it kind of speaks for itself. That always goes back to, I think I probably have explained this before, said this before on a previous video, but I remember when I was really getting into drawing, and, you know, it was, for me at first, I really kept a lot of my artwork to myself. Didn't really share a lot with other people. You know, we have two other artists in our family that are really great at what they do, and, you know, and they were my brothers. They were my older brothers. So, you know, I kind of was in their shadow a lot, and I wanted to keep some of that to just be my enjoyment, to be my pure enjoyment of drawing. But when I started taking it more seriously, you know, I asked my older brother a lot of questions, and he said, well, because I asked him, like, how do I get to that point where I'm as good as you? And he says, well, how long are you willing to spend on a piece? And that kind of answered all my questions. And there we have it. This is Dig, a headshot of Dig. Looking pretty fierce. So, thank you guys for joining me with this episode of AONR Draws, and we'll be doing more episodes like this, more traditional art episodes like this in the future. So if you like this one, give it a thumbs up. It really does help with the whole algorithm and suggesting my videos to other people. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Love you guys. Peace. You choose. I draw. If you know anything about me, you know I get a kick out of posing my figures and taking what I think are pretty neat snapshots of them. Sometimes they even inspire some of my artwork. That's why I'm doing a little poll to see which one of my photos should I redraw, remix, reimagine as a pinup. So for this one, your choices are Katana facing off against Noob Saibot, Thor versus Loki, Elektra, and Bane versus Venom. Voting ends Saturday, April 20th, so make sure you get your votes in on this video, in the comment section of this video, or whatever video you see for You Choose I Draw poll number 5. I'll tally all the votes up that Saturday and announce the winner, and that winner will be a future episode of AONR Draws.